Hey, it's Malachi. I'm back tonight with a short review of the new Brockhampton album, Ginger. So, Brockhampton, the hardest working boy band in show business, is back with their first album in 11 months following September 2018's Iridescence, which not all fans took to this album very well, but it's one of my favorite albums of last year. It really captures them in the moment. Shortly after Amir Van, one of the founding rappers of the group, was dismissed on sexual misconduct charges. And this record is actually a double LP. And you see the gatefold there with extra artwork. And it was cut by Scott Cedillo at Bernie Grundman Mastering and pressed at MPO and sounds fantastic. I think it's one of the best sounding modern albums that I've heard. Also, most of it was recorded and mixed at Abbey Road Studios, so it also sounds fantastic because of that. Now, the boy band's new album, Ginger, just came out August 23rd. And it's actually a decent album. So as the group has become more and more successful and has had to deal with the pressures of their demanding RCA deal of 6 albums in 3 years for $15 million, this album definitely documents their feelings right now. And they are very depressed on this album. But there's also a lot of optimism here. Optimism that they will make their way through it through each other and religion, such as the opening track No Halo with the hook I'm Sure I'll Find It, and some of the other songs reference the more religious aspects of their hope. And in general terms, the album starts off very good. First 4 songs sounds like it could be the beginning of a 10 out of 10 Brockhampton album, like their best album ever, except it starts to tank. So the 5th song, St. Percy, which features a really good sample of D-Flex's Only God Knows, is just okay. And then there's the 2nd single, If You Pray Right, which I really enjoy now that I've heard it a lot more. And the Kevin Abstract outro that lasts about a minute and a half at the end. I really want to hear more of that. It's one of the most experimental moments on the record, and it's really good. But what is it with the mixing on this record? The mixing sucks. Especially on If You Pray Right, with Kevin's hook being buried in the mix to the point where you have no idea what he's saying half the time. Like, what happened? Like, it sounds like they mixed this on an iPad speaker, when in reality, they mixed this at Electric Lady Studios with one of the best mixing engineers in the business right now. So, what happened here? I don't know. The mixing on this record is consistently awful. No Halo as well. Matt's vocals are super buried at the beginning, and the mix is just all over the place. Like, bring the vocal levels up, okay? Like, even, like, no matter what equipment I'm listening on, it could be, like, mid equipment, it could be fantastic equipment, like the big system, it could even be a pair of Apple earbuds. And it still sounds equally as bad on most of those systems. What were they thinking? I have no idea. But anyway, so the 7th song, Dearly Departed, is actually the best song on the record. It really addresses the Amir accusations for the first time in detail that they reference it in the song, really. Especially Kevin's line of, what's the point of having a best friend if you end up losing him? Because the group really did put their trust in Amir, and he really betrayed them, which is why that has loomed over them so much in the past year and a half. But after Dearly Departed, the record starts to go from slowly sliding in quality to just nosediving at the end. So, the first single, which was I've Been Born Again, it's an okay song. I do think Joba's verse is too long, which that's another issue with this record. While I really like hearing contributions from all of the musically active members of Brockhampton, some of their verses are too long. They're far too long. They take up half the song sometimes, when I really just want to hear more variety. Like, I want to hear them split more evenly throughout the record, like on Boy Bye, when they all had their even chance at saying something, while on some of the other songs, their verses are just far too long. Like, Dom's verse on If You Pray Right and Joba's verse on I've Been Born Again in particular are 2 really long verses that shouldn't have been as long. Overall, I've Been Born Again isn't that bad of a song, but things nosedive really fast. like on the title track, Ginger, it's very forgettable and at times annoying. Same with the song Big Boy. That's just with Kevin's auto-tuned vocals. It just gets really grating on my ears after a while. But the worst song on here by far is Love Me for Life. So I get the idea of songs with multiple parts, and I do really enjoy some songs that have multiple parts and have drastic changes in the middle of them. However, the transitions between parts on Love Me for Life are so messy. Like, on all the good songs that have transitions into a completely different section, there's at least a build-up. Nights, Sicko Mode, all of Tyler's two-part songs. But here, it's just like you're listening to one song and then someone put on another song right in the middle of that song. It makes no sense. And plus, Joba's vocals on Love Me for Life are just so annoying and last way too long again. But whatever. The closing track, it's called Victor Roberts because the guest vocalist on this track is Victor Roberts. He's one of Dom's friends, and here we have Victor rapping about his troubled childhood with his mom being a drug addict and his family being in a lot of trouble and him being separated from his parents. I'm not really going to complain about the verse length on the song because he is really telling a story. What I have more issues about on this particular song is that on a Brockhampton record, I would prefer hearing the members share the song and say something themselves. But here we have someone else closing the record for them. And I really get the symbolism of that, and I really do appreciate it. All respect to Victor Roberts because he did a great job on his verse. But I'm not sure if I want this as the last thing I hear on this album. I would rather hear the boys doing something on their own as the last thing on this record. But I get why they put Victor at the end of it out of respect to him and for him to have the opportunity to share his story. As I was editing this video, I realized I wanted to say how on most Brockhampton records, Kevin Abstract raps extensively about his struggles as a gay man and growing up in a household that rejected him and his sexuality. However, on this album, he doesn't discuss it as much, probably because on his solo album, Arizona Baby, earlier this year, he kind of talked about all of that and didn't need to say much about it on this new one. This new one, he just addressed more of the issues that come with fame. Overall, it's a decent record in the beginning and takes a nosedive towards the end, so it's a good but quite flawed record. And using the official YouTube Music Critics scoring scale, I'd give this album a strong 7 to a light 8. And if you haven't already, like this video, subscribe to this channel, comment if you disagree or have something to say. And I'm working on a whole bunch of other reviews right now, so you can read them on analogplanet.com. I'll put a link down in the description box for the website. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.